Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about Black men and mental health. I'm Lady Bounce.
Kryptonite, child.
And we are joined by a special guest, Mr. Brandon Jones. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on today. It's exciting.
I'm excited to have you here. I know we talk a lot on Facebook and everything, and we talk about all these great things that are going on and we can talk about to make, our world better. So we definitely appreciate you being here. So to start us off, Kryptonite, you got the mindfulness minute, rather.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Becoming emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence is the capacity to recognize and manage our emotions and those of others close to us. If we can identify emotional messages in the expression and tone of others, we're more likely to empathize with them. By understanding how emotions affect our thinking, we can use them for more effective problem solving, decision making, and creative pursuits. Finding ways to manage emotions effectively, relaxing when nervous, or remaining calm when angry, for example, is the crux of emotional intelligence and can increase our chances of happiness. When you feel a bad mood coming on, there are plenty of ways to ward it off. Expand some energy. Get some physical exercise. Give yourself a pep talk or find a friend to give you one. Change position. Get up from your desk, look up, stretch, or walk around. Go outside if you can. Don't resort to drinking, drugs, or comfort food. Listen to some relaxing music. Don't avoid the person or thing that has upset you. Go to a yoga class. Meditate. Find a pleasant distraction, such as a hobby. Have a chat with a friend.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know if I do. I don't know that I do.
I agree with all of it until you get to the part about the comfort food and the drinking, because I'm like, wait a minute now.
That's not the end all be all. Well, see, my thing is, I don't think that it's so easy necessarily to do any of those things per se. It just depends on your situation, I think.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm against anything that was said. I just think it's not you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just necessarily fitting for everyone's situation.
I like it.
I would have to agree with that, but we definitely we need to eat healthy, no matter what body you are.
No, don't get me wrong. No, all that stuff about the food.
Yes. Okay.
Directly for the food. We need to leave that alone. Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing that's kind of it presses our buttons a little bit, because we got our guilty pleasures, right? And a lot of us, we like our junk food. So that probably is going to step on some toes, but it's probably a good thing because...
Well, no, because anyone that has ever watched an episode of My 600-Pound Life understands that issues with food is real. That's real. And I personally can tell you that me and food have a psychological warfare going on. I'm just going to let you know we do. No, we do. I'm one of those people. Have you ever heard of mouth hunger? That when you see it, you want it, so you got to have it.
Mm-hmm.
That's me all day long. Don't let me see something good and I can have some.
Right. See?
That's a real problem.
No, it seriously is.
It really is.
Yeah.
I got it. I know. I do it.
The salts and the sugars and everything in between.
Man, oh my goodness. Look. Oh. Hey, look, it don't matter. Look, meats, you know what I'm saying?
The meats.
It just means if it look good, it's I'm at least taking a spoonful.
I know.
At least, I will say this about myself. Look, I have gotten good to the point where that is all that I do. I take a spoonful and I quit. I swear it's been going down. I swear.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you too. That's why I'm talking about it.
One spoon is not that bad now. I think you can make it with one spoonful.
I'm thinking so.
Not anything more than that.
I'm thinking so. No, I'm I'm believing in this method. I'm telling you. I'm believing in it.
It's a good start. It's definitely a good start.
I drink smoothies all day and take spoonfuls of other people's delicious meals.
That's it. That's all you need.
Okay, so look, you guys, let's get into this. All right, Brandon, from a male perspective, talk to us about how important it is for Black men to take care of their mental health.
I think it's absolutely important because psychologically, a lot of Black men are, we are born into this world with racial frustration, and we don't always understand it. Throughout the history of us just being here in the United States of America, there's just so much pressure on the Black man to be strong, to act like nothing, he doesn't have any problems, when, we really do deal with a lot of things in dark. And as you can see, it plays out. Sometimes our mental health plays out in front of the world, like what we experienced with George Floyd. We sometimes become menaces to society because we aren't able to talk through these issues that are sometimes placed on us at birth. We don't understand. And I think it is so important as Black men to take it more seriously, because if we don't, we'll end up seeing more situations like George Floyd happen in the future. And yeah, I just don't think that it's healthy for us to keep internalize a lot of these things. And we need to be in comfortable environments, supported by our Black women, because we really do need our Black women to support us. And yeah, I think it's very important as a Black man to discuss mental health.
Now, have you ever had any mental health issues yourself? And how did you cope with that?
Yes, I have. I still cope through a lot of mental health issues myself. But one thing that I discovered a year, maybe 2 years ago, I was starting a new job, and I was like trying to find my way in the company, and it's a corporate America job. So it's a very tall building, and I kind of feel like I lost myself. And me being the only person, the Black person on the floor, it's like you try to blend in and be like everybody else around you, but you feel that pressure to be someone that you're really not. So at that time, that was going on, and there were some personal things going on as well, family issues, and I decided for the first time ever to go to counseling. So I went through my insurance, and I was just looking for some different counselors in Brooklyn. And I found I was specifically looking for someone because I knew that I wanted to talk to someone that was African American, just like me, had a Christian-based foundation. And so those were some of the search criteria that I was typing in. So I found someone, and we did like 2 or 3 different sessions, and they didn't go longer than that. But in that time, it was very helpful to talk to someone and talk about the importance of, and I've always been someone that's journaled. So that's been something that I've done ever since I was in elementary school. But to do it as an adult, and you're writing down issues that are happening in real time, and they're adults, real life situations, it's even much more effective, because you're able to utilize your experience as an adult and write those experiences down, and then look back at them 6 months from that experience and hopefully grow as a person. So I've always done journaling, but it reinforced the importance of it and how effective it really is. So that was one of the things that we talked about in those sessions. But I would encourage people like myself, because I have friends, and I tell them about the powerful impact of going to counseling. And a lot of them tell me that they don't want to go because they feel like they don't know the person, or be like me. Just like, if you have a specific person in mind that you would feel comfortable opening up to, you need to just type those search criteria in the box. It's really simple. Psychology Today is an excellent resource to find counselors to the T of what you're looking for. So yes, I have had mental health issues, and I'm still working through those things. And I'm very proud to tell my friends and to be honest with myself and say, hey, I don't have it all mentally together, but I'm working through it day by day. It's just a part of being a human, is being honest with yourself.
Right. I definitely, understand that, and I agree with that. Like, I've been in therapy at different times myself, and it was easy to find somebody to talk to, because sometimes you can tell a complete stranger all of your secrets, because you know that, one, they're bound and they can't tell anybody else. And Absolutely. They're going to listen without judgment. If I talk to my sister, or if I talk to my friend, it's going to be a little bit of a side eye with it. Like, did you know that she acts like she got? So I find, when I was in therapy, that talking to a stranger is sometimes easier, than leaning on that best gal pal because they do listen without judgment, and then you can tell them the whole truth. Because a lot of times when we are talking to our best friends and our family, we always hold back that one thing that we know is gonna, make them look at us funny. So I'll tell you this much of the story, but I'm gonna leave out these 3 pieces over here. I don't want that judgment, to go with it. So yeah, I think that's definitely important. And search criteria is great. There's a I can't ever remember the name of it. I'll have to find it and post a link with this episode. But there's a whole website, and it's like blackgrowtherapy.com or something like that, where you can type in and find a Black therapist wherever you live at. So that's important. So I mean, it's not just for Black women. I just think that's what it's called, but it's for Black people in general.
Right. So, see, people don't know these things exist, and that's why I love the era that we live in, because you don't really have to go off and tell people that you're getting therapy. Like, it's just something that between you and your phone, and you're finding someone. Just like there's an app for everything nowadays. I mean, there's really no excuse as to why you can't find someone to talk to in the day and age that we live in, where it's extremely accessible to get what you want. So I just find it, when people make excuses saying, hey, it's I would say if you don't have insurance, that could be maybe a challenge.
That's where I'm at with it, because I think most of the issues that, because we can tell people that they need therapy and we can, but they don't have the resources to actually go through that, to actually take people up on those, use those resources rather, because they don't have insurance or something like that, so it's very frustrating when, what I'm saying, when you don't have those resources, but you're still trying to deal with everything every day, and you just don't have that one person to talk to.
I helped my brother actually get counseling during a drug situation he was going through. But I was really fortunate to use my experience with the Obamacare, what's that health insurance that's basically
the Affordable Care Act.
Affordable Care, yeah. So for me, I have that insurance, and I don't know if a lot of people don't know this or not, but you have so many resources with the Affordable Care. You can get counseling, you can get all these other health resources, but mental health is also part of that. And a lot of people don't know that about the affordable, health insurance. If you reach out to someone that works for, whatever insurance you have through the Affordable Care Act, they will help you find counselors that are covered on your insurance in your area. They get very specific on criteria. And you also can use, I don't know if you guys heard of ZocDoc. It's an app. It's a really good app. You download it, and it's like an app that allows you to find doctors in your area for whatever you need. And mental health is something that you can type in the type box. So you just type in your insurance, if you have Medicaid, just type in the Medicaid managed care, whatever, and you can find doctors in your area that are willing to take you in as a customer or client. And that's the thing, is like, you just got to be plugged in and know exactly, if you get that Affordable Care, Medicaid insurance, use it to the best, because people don't even know what they have with that, and it's free. So that's just something else to throw out there for people that have that. But other people that don't have insurance, yes, we got to help them out too, because, the reality is not a lot of people can pay out of pocket to see a doctor 1 or 2 visits. But isn't there also like a hotline that you can call?
I think so. I think it's on the website, you can, call and get information. So, I mean, it's out there. It's just, my hope would be for the people who don't have like insurance and don't have the resources, that they don't get frustrated, in the search, because you do have to do a little bit of a digging, when you don't have those resources. And we know that if we start something and it's hard, then it's easier to give up. It's easier to just keep suffering. So, which is, one of the reasons why we started our show, to let people know you don't have to suffer. You can have these issues. There is help out there. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of digging. And so our goal with that is to, make it a little bit easier, make it a little less frustrating to navigate through, some of the paperwork and the, internet searches to find, good help. And then since we are, humans having a human experience, we're living it too. So you get to watch us go through it just like you're going through it. Like, we're definitely not, perfect by far, which is, why we use our platform to help other people with the same stuff that we face and that we go through.
Thank you so much, guys. And podcasting, I met you on our Podcasters Unite for, African Americans Facebook page. And I would say that this has been very therapeutic. Actually, I'm on a break right now with my podcast, the Inspiration with Brendan show. But I've found it to be very, very helpful to use my voice on this platform to just speak on topics and interview people that are of interest to me. I think that's where it starts. Mental health is really finding your voice. Using
I said the
platform.
Same thing.
Yeah,
when I
it is.
Started, I said, "This is therapy, honey. I'm gonna
powerful.
be doing this." I'm about to be hooked on doing this.
It's excellent.
This lets me get it out, And if you ever seen me on one of these podcasts,
Yeah.
What I'm saying? Sometimes I can't hold that in. But I did want to ask you though, because that there is such a stigmatism around Black people and mental health. So, and especially as a Black man, So what was it really that was your determining factor, that was your last straw that said, I'm going to go get me some help for real. I'm about to go talk to somebody for real.
For me, I would say it wasn't like a really severe situation. Like, it wasn't like oh my gosh, I'm about to go commit suicide, or it was just more for me like managing my stress. I needed to find a different, like, I knew that my insurance was very powerful. I've always been the type of person that I may not have a lot, but if I have something that's helping me, like even through college, like there was a time where I ran out of money and I would go to there was like a community where they help you pay for school if you're running out of cash as a college student. So I'm super resourceful when it comes to like pennies and nickels and dimes. So I use the most out of my resources. And I knew that when I got that affordable care, that I was going to dig into it and see, what do I need right now? Like, and I knew that once I started that job, that there was some stress that I was still not able to work through or figure out. Like, here I am, the only Black person on this floor. I'm at a really big company. I think it's an amazing company, but I still don't see diversity and inclusion here. I don't really see my voice. Like, how can I talk through some of the things that I'm going through, starting this new job and trying to find my way as a diverse individual? So I said to myself, I got insurance. So let me just go through these connects and see if I can find someone that I can speak to maybe once or twice. And that was a very specific reason why I did it. But I've always wanted to get counseling just because, like, I'm more in touch with, my emotions. I'm more in touch with, how can I make myself a better person? So that was a unique way of doing it. I've never ever gone to counseling for that. I mean, I probably did as a child, but as an adult, it was just like getting baptized again. Like, I'm just doing this because I want to manage my stress. I want to manage my emotions so that I can be effective in this particular situation, which was starting a new job at a really big company. So yeah, and ever since that, I became an advocate for mental health. And my situation is not as severe as what other Black people go through, other Black men go through, but I feel like it's no matter what you're dealing with, there's always someone to talk to get you through that particular roadblock.
I think therapy is therapy, and the severity of your situation doesn't necessarily matter. It's all about what you are willing to handle. You know what I mean? Because there's no point in taking on so much if you don't have to.
Exactly. There's people to help you. These people are they're trained professionals to help you. And so if you don't use it, you lose it, is another thing I say. Like, you need to know your benefits. You need to know what you can get with your benefits. So, and actually, you know what? At the time, I took advantage of my job benefits, which a part of it was you can get counseling. I forget what it's called. There's like, it's a part of your package as an employee with your health benefits. So I took advantage of that. It wasn't through my managed care. So that's another thing. A lot of employers actually allow, depending on if you're a full-time employee, I know part-time benefits are different, but if you're a full-time employee, they give you certain benefits, health included within your health insurance to, help you find someone to talk to if you're if you need counseling. So that was a part of the benefit at my job. So I was very fortunate to find that.
Yeah, I know. My husband worked for a company for a really long time, and at that time it was called Employee Assistance Program.
Yeah, that EAP.
So,
EAP. Yeah.
Right. So they'll pay for 6 sessions, and then
There
if
it
you
is.
need anything after 6 sessions, then after 6
Right.
it bills your insurance. So if you
That's-
have insurance, and if you don't have insurance, then you pay out of pocket. So yeah, that like when you were
That's
saying it, I
exactly
was
right.
like, yeah, I remember that. Like that
Yep.
was very helpful because I used it. We ended up having to use it for our son who he has ADHD, so we used it for a couple of sessions for him. It was really helpful to steer us in a direction to say, well, do we really need therapy or do we really need something else, to help, with the issues that we're dealing with. So having those 6 sessions to kind of help evaluate which way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And they, it passes on to if you need more therapy after that point to your insurance. And it did actually kick over to my insurance. But like I said, I didn't continue those sessions just because it was hard to schedule with the person that I was doing my sessions with. That became frustrating. That was another frustration when you can't schedule. But and then I did start, I actually started counseling with another office in Brooklyn, and there I didn't really vibe with the person that was doing the session, so I ended that, and I didn't go back to counseling since then. So another thing is when you need to evaluate if you feel comfortable in those sessions, because if you don't, you would know immediately if it's going to work for you or not, and don't feel hesitant or shy.
I have a friend right now that's going through something, and her biggest complaint is that she keeps coming across these counselors that she just can't vibe with.
No.
She's a very unique personality, and you really have to really have to choose carefully what you're going. You have to really think about what you're going to say before you say it, because she's not one of those people that you're going to use clinical cliches with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find that, and what she has told me from her experiences is that's what she gets a lot of the doctors that have all these predetermined thoughts about who she is and what she is, and they use these clinical cliches with her in an effort to get her to talk. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's insulting to her. So she's easily offended by that. So from there, the session goes nowhere.
Yeah.
She is someone that it would benefit her to find someone that she could vibe with and talk to on a regular basis.
Yeah, and that was similar with me. Like, it would just sit in the session and they would just have me ramble off, and they don't say anything. They're just sitting there, maybe writing some notes down. But it's like, okay, are you looking at me as an individual, or are you looking at me as just another number trying to get through, your day of clients? And so that's the kind of vibe that I got from the last session that I was in, and actually the one before as well. Even though it was hard to schedule, it still was like, when I'm there, I don't feel like my time is valued, or like my case in particular is being heard. Like, you're just putting me in the category of, this is how we need to diagnose this type of person based off of what they've said when they came in the first time. So it's not really getting to understand the person, and that can be very frustrating too. And that's why I discontinued twice. So yeah, that's a real thing. And I don't know what can really fix that other than, I don't know. Cause you can't really, like, if you find someone on the internet, if you're just typing in someone, maybe you find someone that's African-American that's in your neighborhood. But if you go to that session just because they're African-American and then in your neighborhood and they're Christian, doesn't mean that you make that connection. It's like, how do you screen them before?
Right.
Beyond
those. You would have to go to a session in order to even screen and see if you have that, because unfortunately you can't do an interview without having to pay for it, right? So I think it is important, I think it's important for doctors to remember that they're talking, what they're dealing with isn't necessarily so much the medical part of it as it is the human part of it. And I think, I don't know, maybe they make that disconnection so they won't become so involved. I don't know how it works. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that on a human level, we have to be able to connect on that same level while still being able to be professional in the sense of determining if someone does have a problem severe enough to be either diagnosed or referred to someone that can do something for them medically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, because other than that, really seeking a therapist, really seeking somebody that can really just listen to your problems and give you a guidance as to how you might be able to come up out of whatever it is you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like it's basically bouncing ideas off of getting new ideas from someone that just met you. You know what I'm saying? It's just coming from a more positive level. You know, that's just my opinion, but that's just what I think therapy really is getting a different point of view of your situation from someone that, you know what I'm saying, they looking on the outside and they looking in, but they're also seeing how you might, maybe you didn't think about this. Let's help you find your way out of type. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why it can be intimidating for a lot of people, because you do pour your heart out and you do tell people, this stranger. I mean, yeah, in the beginning we did say that it could be easier because they're not your friend or relative, but it can still be intimidating, especially they if you are really going through something really serious and severe and they're just getting you in their 30-minute time slot to get you out, to push you out because they have
Yeah.
another client coming in, so they're not really engaged, that can be a turnoff for a lot of people, you know, especially if you are being truly vulnerable in that situation and you expect them to offer their expertise or just listen without, you know, just being distracted by their job, like doing the job, taking notes or whatever.
And you know, thinking about it, just thinking about it, sitting here thinking about it, like talking about the insurance part of it, and the fact that most people don't feel comfortable. Black people, most black people don't feel comfortable with going to therapy unless they're being forced to do so, basically. Because I find that most people that have interacted with a therapist in the black community, especially in the impoverished black community or the inner city black community, are people that have had to do so based on an ordinance from a court.
Oh,
so that's like so, and I think that's where those situations come from, where the doctors, they're employed already by the state, so they're first of all, they're paid to have a preconceived notion of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think people get a bad they get a bad taste in their mouth about therapy because they don't feel that they're being treated fairly, because in most cases they aren't. In most cases, the help that they are looking for, they're not necessarily getting because of that money incentive. You know what I mean? And I don't think all of the therapists are like that, because even with the friend that I'm speaking of, she did find one person that she did connect with, but she couldn't see him because he was too far away. So she couldn't travel.
Yeah, see, what you were saying about, you are right. There are people like that are out of the criminal justice system that have to get seen by a therapist, a part of whatever, court law or court ordinance. That can be like a money incentive for a lot of therapists. So
Right.
like you were saying, they're just pushing you in and pushing you out because basically for them, they're just getting a pay incentive from it, and they're not really engaging. And so what if you have someone that comes in from the criminal justice system, and then right after you have someone that's not come from the criminal justice system, like myself, that just needs help? You know, I found you through my insurance, so are you going to treat me the same? Are you going to treat everybody the same? So
Right.
I feel like maybe that's the reason why I didn't have good experiences with the two counselors before me, is that you don't know what kind of clientele they get within their office. They could be getting people from the criminal justice system. So in their eyes, everybody is the same. So they just group you all together and treat you the same way, give you that same experience. And so that's something I think that a lot of counselors need to work on, is how do we treat people based off of their, like when they're coming into the office, not because of their insurance or whatever, like how do we treat them for what they're being what they're here to be seen for? I think that's a struggle for a lot of offices.
Well, as we wrap up and we come to a close, so as honored as our guest, you're going to do our self-care assignment for this week. What do you do for self-care? So whatever you do is what we're going to do this week for our assignment.
Okay. For self-care, I normally look at art. I actually just bought a new painting for my bedroom. So I am someone that appreciates art. So what I do is I go on YouTube and I look up different videos of someone painting a picture, a mural, or making a sculpture of something. So that's therapy for me. I find a lot of peace in it, and yeah, I think that's a God-given gift to be able to create something like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So again, we thank you for being here, and as always, we have to wrap up every episode with our brain science to give you some numbers behind it all, the science of it all, if you will. Yes. So this week, we're going to talk about Black males, trauma, and mental health. Black males age 18 and older have the highest age-adjusted all-cause mortality rate and perhaps the worst health status of any ethnic sex group in the United States. Exposure to trauma, whether through witnessing it or direct victimization, is often a daily reality for many Black males. Additionally, having prior experiences of trauma exposure puts one at risk for exposure to traumatic events in the future. This cycle of trauma that encompasses the lives of so many Black men ages 18 and older poses tremendous social and economic cost to the victims, their families, society, and the healthcare system. Each year, trauma accounts for 41 million emergency department visits, 2.3 million hospital admissions, and 192,000 deaths across the nation. Trauma related to car accidents, child maltreatment, inpatient and fatal and non-fatal injuries result in a lifetime cost of $1.7 trillion for the U.S. economy due to loss of wages and loss of life. Evidence-based trauma-informed mental health treatment, such as cognitive processing therapy, prolonged exposure and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, have shown to be effective in treating and reducing the rates of deleterious mental and behavioral outcomes for trauma survivors, which contributes to reductions in healthcare costs, happier families, happier people. Therefore, by addressing the barriers to mental health service for Black male trauma survivors is vital to creating a healthier and thriving society. Moreover, it will take a collective effort from researchers, practitioners, mental health and behavioral health organizations, and policymakers to eradicate barriers to mental health services and uses, which will strengthen support systems for Black male trauma survivors. So in other words, Black men, if you need it, get the help. You have these unrecognized traumas that you have to address to make you a more effective man. And as you said in the beginning of the show, we as Black women have to stand behind you and support you to help take away that stigma, that is associated with receiving help for, your mental health tragedies. Mm-hmm. So if you follow us, which you should, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. Continue to fly with us, and we will help you through these mental health traumas and moments. Kryptonite, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm following you guys right now, actually.
Well, we definitely appreciate it. So with that being said, Mr. Jones, thank you again for joining us. I'm Lady Bounce.
I'm Kryptonite, y'all.
And we out of here.
All right.
Peace, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.